The Subaru Forester is one of the most popular compact SUVs amongst people who actually intend to take their SUV into the great outdoors, but there's definitely been some room for improvement in terms of actually being able to take it off the beaten path. Now, that improvement will finally arrive with this, the Forester Wilderness. Now, every Forester gets revised styling for 2022, but the Wilderness is different beyond that. Now, it does have a distinctive grille. It's black trimmed. It also, if you look in there, does have a forward-facing camera that is intended for off-road use. It does have higher body cladding, which you can see here, as well as hexagonal fog lights. And then because of the necessity for not only higher ground clearance, which I'll talk about in a moment, but it does have better approach angles, and for that they did bring up the bumper angle here. That's an aluminum skid plate, and the corners of the bumper have also moved up at the corners. And then, just like the Outback Wilderness, there's this anti-glare matte decal on the hood. And here you can see that they do have much larger fenders on here, protect the bodywork from errant foliage. And these are 17-inch black alloy wheels with Yokohama Geolander off-roading tires. Now, the Forester was already one of the highest compact SUVs. It had 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is more than everything in the segment, except for the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk specifically. But this is a half-inch higher than that. 9.2 inches, which is actually a bit more than a Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, this is actually not quite as high off the ground as the Outback Wilderness, and the reason for that is a production issue. Basically, if they made it any higher, it would run into some piece of equipment in the factory in Japan, which is not a good thing. So it needs to be exactly 9.2 inches off the ground. Another big change is the roof rails. Now, these are bigger, they are sturdier, and they are slightly wider apart. As a result of this, they can hold up to 800 pounds while the vehicle is static, which is up from 700 pounds on the regular Forester. So this is specifically intended for roof tents. Now, there's actually not that much different at the back. This textured black trim piece, that's unique to the Wilderness. You do have black bumpers down here, and then of course the special Wilderness badge. Now, the interior gets the same gold accents as the exterior, as well as lots of Subaru Wilderness badges there in the instruments, down there on the all-weather floor mats, then on the unique easily cleanable vinyl seats. You have it embossed in the head restraint, and then you have a tag there on the seat, and then you have it there on the door. There's the Wilderness's X mode dial, also trimmed in gold, and then there is the forward-facing camera in action, which is actually a really nice location for it because it's, well, it's right there. For what you can't see out the window, it's clearly right there. So that's a nice, smart placement. And otherwise, you have the exact same kind of crazy expansive view out the windows in this, which is a really great benefit when driving off-road. And if that should fail, well, you do have Subaru's EyeSight forward collision warding system, which has been calibrated specifically for the higher ride height, which is something you won't necessarily, and probably very unlikely to get if you went with an aftermarket lift on a Forester. Here in the cargo area, you can see that there are two new hooks that have been added onto every 2022 Forester. But under here is something unique to the Wilderness, and that is not only a full-size spare, but a matching wheel and Yokohama Geolander off-road tire. And another element that is distinctive is here, the back seat. It's rubber and it is easily cleanable, which is not only good for your muddy stuff, but yeah, your dogs too will leave less of their fur in the back. Now the Wilderness, it has the same Boxer 4 engine as every Forester, so don't expect thrilling acceleration, but the CVT's gear ratios have been altered for better response off-road. Now because of that, as well as the all-terrain tires and just worse aerodynamics that result from raising a car up, including the nose as well, fuel economy is down to 26 miles per gallon combined versus 29 miles per gallon combined for every other Forester. So although you do have definite improvement off-road and yeah, it looks cooler, there is still a trade-off. Now pricing starts at $32,820, which actually puts it in the middle of the Forester lineup. You have to pay even more to get a Touring. This is kind of a mid-grade model with enhancements, well, again, to take it further off the beaten path. And without question, I'd say it's the most appealing Forester.